Hey guys, Future Demi here. Just wanted to pop in and say that I was sick when recording this, so I'ma sound like a dead horse. Now on to the video. What if a global leak of toxic anti-aging cream affected the world and caused an apocalypse? What would you do? Well, maybe you're thinking about using, this. Or how about unintentionally getting your arm cut off by a lady with trust issues? Or you're given a mysterious power by your Tinder date that you call Mommy. It's a lot to swallow in less than 2 hours of the specialty demo I was provided to review, but on top of the weird sound issues, scuffed gameplay, and a bit of a wonky dialogue, this game needs a bit more time to cook to make it in time for its intended release date, September 21st of this year. Eternights is created by solo dev Psy based in South Korea. And if you're familiar with my channel, you know that I covered a few solo dev games in the past, like the roguelike game Lone Ruin, the Portal-like puzzle game Entropy Center as well, so I feel like I have a bit of experience when reviewing these kinds of games. From Twitter, we know that Psy went into creating Eternights with the stated intentions to create a Persona-like game with more action combat style like Devil May Cry, differing from the classic Japanese role-playing RPG style. You can see the Persona influence in the work and everything from the character design to the settings, but it seems to lack the true formula. Though you can see a good amount of Psy's own flair thrown in. I mean, just look at this amazing cutscene. The gameplay is pretty neatly divided into two parts. A DMC-style action game, alongside a weird incel wish fulfillment dating sim. While neither of these parts is especially bad, there's somewhat of a jarring aspects of how completely separate they are. There is an absolutely zero overlap between the two sections. I'm hoping this is just a fault of the abbreviated playtime, but so far these feel like they are entirely different games. The dating sim aspects are as bare bone as it gets. You have attributes like acceptance and confidence that increase depending on which option you pick. Maybe it's just because it is the demo, but I never noticed the effect of these stats increasing. I don't think my character gained more courage because I turned my arm into a hentai tentacle. In comparison to the works that inspired it, Persona, the hangout system there felt like it had a real impact on your MC's relationship with the side characters. There are some scenes in there that felt a bit off-putting and incelish, as someone out of a rent-a-girlfriend. This is another thing where it's like, I see where you're going for, but the ball completely fumbled on the 1-yard line. I guess the awkward timing and the execution of these scenes is really what throws me off. After all, the secret of comedy is timing. The dialogue feels very stilted and awkward. My man is no Tumblr sexy man. I'm not sure if there's a localization issue or something, so I'm willing to say, he'll fix it later. The more interesting side is the arena style of combat, which is, well, weird. For the first two sections of combat, which are as cleanly divided from the dialogue scene as is, there is only one attack button and a dodge mechanic. The attack feels somewhat flimsy, but the animation looks pretty solid, and the dodge is almost too easy to prop, but can be very satisfying and genuinely fun every time I hit it, so the ease doesn't really bother me as much. In the last combat section, there is all of a sudden a heavy attack, which is super janky and non-cancelable whatsoever. So if you throw it out at the wrong time, you're just left standing with your flappy tentacle arm in your hand. There's also a parry element added, which I genuinely didn't really notice until I spent like 5 minutes on the menu. I actually feel like I missed something or messed up the game somehow, because Shadow introducing two main mechanics is absolutely nutty. As a dedicated quick-time event defender, look, this is peak gameplay. Even I am forced to admit that these sequences don't quite land as well. It's mostly due to the strange animations that somewhat wobble and I genuinely cannot tell what is happening. There is definitely a lot of potential here because they have the possibility of adding sort of Yakuza-style heat actions. That would be really cool. Also, the designs of the enemies are genuinely awesome, especially the boss characters. They really get off this really deformed style that clashes very well with the down-to-earth designs of our heroes. While the music in this game is generally great and sets the mood very well with its ambient sound, The sound design could use a bit of work. Everything is just a bit loud and I can't quite put my finger on it, but everything feels off. Especially the dialogue timing and the impact sounding from the sword attacks. This definitely feels like something that will be fixed with the full release, so not really a big deal, but I do hope it's fixed.
Let's be careful and...
Well, if you want to merge the ideas of a dating sim and an action RPG, I want to see a bit more crossover between them. To be fair, I believe that the full game will bridge this divide more effectively, for there are some hints at a deep confidence system with you and your romantic interests, which there are about 4 of them. Thank God. Even the male character is romanceable. Secondly, add probably some more depth to the combat mechanics. Even some simple things like more variety of combos or some incorporations of the environments would go a long way towards making the combat more enjoyable. Also, maybe improve the AI so that my love interests aren't constantly running in the way of my sword. But since the demo comes out, well, today, how about you let me know in the comments section, what do you think the game could improve in? Or maybe it's perfect as is. Eternights is a game killed by execution. A dating sim set in a post-apocalyptic world is a good idea on paper, but the zero riz from the protagonist really makes it fall flat. Maybe I'm just getting a bit tired of the silent, mostly blank slate MC, but I found that this really hamstrung my ability to get into that aspect. The Devil May Cry fighting-esque combat is great, but after a few swings, the combat starts to feel a bit stale. Unless they silently drop new mechanics out of nowhere. I think this is mostly a limitation of resources that plagued this section, and overall I wasn't feeling the Persona ingredient at all, just a simple calendar system with no freedom to do anything but a linear storyline. I feel with more time and resources, Studio Sai could refine and improve Eternights, transforming it into a compelling and immersive experience. And I hope that when September rolls around, and it can recover to truly give us something to enjoy as we wait for our savior. And with that, thanks for watching. Catch the demo of Eternights now during the Steam Next Fest of June 2023. And you can get the game on Steam, PlayStation, and the Epic Game Store when it releases on September 21st, 2023. Or how about you catch me streaming it live on Twitch, which you can find at twitch.tv Demi_Klo. Ciao!